Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston, this is Space Station. We are ready for the event.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
Houston ACR, this is the Space Station. We hear you loud and clear.
I'm Chris Brown, Deputy Associate Administrator for STEM Engagement here at NASA, and I'm delighted to kick off our event today. Chris, we're thrilled that you could spend time with our spring interns. We have a cohort of interns of over 360 students who have been with us over the past several weeks. These students have exhibited resilience, tenacity, and commitment to their work. With that, thanks to all of you for joining us. Thanks to all of you NASA interns out there who are with us today. I'm looking forward to hearing your questions. And with that, let's go to the first question.
Hi, my name is Oliver, and I'm a graduate student at the University of Toronto in Canada. I'm currently an intern at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where I work on improving the long-term autonomy of future rovers. My question is, how can we increase the awareness about space exploration among the general public and inspire more people to support future crewed and robotic missions to the Moon, Mars, and beyond?
Great question, Oliver, and welcome to the team. You're part of that. You're part of that answer now, and it's about getting the message out, just like we hope that you can do when you go back to your university or your hometown and talk to people about the things you've done at NASA. Now, it's been an interesting time for you to be an intern at NASA, where not quite so involved with the buildings and labs that maybe you had hoped because of the shutdown, but nonetheless, it takes all of us who have knowledge about the exciting things we're doing at NASA and in our international space cooperation, and I invite you to help solve that problem and get the word out. Thank you, Oliver.
Hello, my name is Muriel Kruger and I attend Georgia Tech. I'm an intern at KSC, where I work on Oscar, a grouchy system that converts trash into useful or ventable gases. My question is, before and after being selected to be an astronaut, how have you balanced living your life in the moment and having fun with constantly working towards your goal of going to space? Thank you for your time.
How do I balance living in the moment and balancing my goals for the future? Well, really, it's something I learned a little bit in the SEAL teams and a little bit at NASA, and that is there's nothing more important than you're doing right now. In the cockpit of a space shuttle, you could be distracted and put your finger on the wrong switch and throw the switch and shut down a main engine or something like that. Here on the space station, we can do the same thing. Be thinking about other activities. I might be thinking, oh, what can I do? What do I have to do in 2 hours? I have a PAO event. But that doesn't take away from the fact that an hour ago, I had my hands on electrical cables and was connecting things together. So that's a valuable lesson that I've learned throughout life is pay attention, be here in the now, and there's nothing more important than what that is, whether it's talking to your family, whether it's doing your homework, whether it's studying for a final, or whether it's making sure you're not shutting down the main engine on the
intern at Langley Research Center. My project uses in-situ cure monitoring of carbon fiber panels with the goal of improving the manufacturing of composite materials. My question is, what is the biggest misconception people here on Earth have about astronauts who live and work on the International Space Station?
Well, that's a fun question because it's probably not so much what you guys have misconceptions on, because you're knowledgeable and interns and part of the NASA team now. But in the greater community, when I have folks prior to the mission and throughout my career, there are a lot of things that people think. For instance, that we squirt our food out of a tube of goo and it doesn't resemble normal food, or that we are in complete isolation and detached from everything on Earth. And neither of those are true. The food is yummy. It's made in a lab down in Houston, and it comes in different packaging and a variety of meats, fish, vegetables, and desserts, and you name it, all that, and snacks. and and we're really well connected to the ground. I don't feel isolated at all. I can talk to my friends and family on the phone. We have video conference with my wife and children. We have daily communication, hourly communication with the ground team. So I feel very connected to Earth. Plus, I can look out the window and see it. And the human stuff, eating, going to the bathroom, all those things feel very normal to me, and I don't feel like I'm doing those things in a strange environment.
Hi, my name's Taylor Smith, and I'm a student at the University of Maryland College Park. I'm an intern at NASA headquarters where I conduct research with the Mars Reconnaissance Team. My question for you is about the CO2 emissions observed from the ISS. I know that you've previously been aboard the ISS, and I was wondering, given the situation with COVID-19 here on Earth, if there was an observable difference between then and now with the CO2 emissions.
That's a great question, and it's come up a few times in the short time I've been on board the space station, this mission. And I have to be honest, there's nothing observable to my eye. Now, it was 7 years ago when I was last here, and I've chewed a lot of gum in those 7 years, so I'm not exactly sure I'm remembering the perfect picture. However, to me, it looks relatively the same. Now, we have lots of scientific instruments that can measure that very accurately, but to the naked eye, I have to say it's nothing I can observe.
Hi, Chris. My name is Alfredo Núñez, and I attend the Universidad Carlos III de Madrid in Spain, and I work at Armstrong Flight Research Center in the AR&D Flight Data Portal project. My question is, technically, can the ISS be repaired and renewed continuously without reaching its retirement? Thank you.
Yeah, so that's an interesting question from a design point of view, and in all practicality, the space station is very modular on a big scale down to the smaller scale. The modules themselves, we can release and attach new ones. Inside a module, we have racks, and these racks can be changed out. Inside each rack, there are components to the space station, whether it's systems that keep us alive and the power and computer, data, air conditioning system, all of that stuff. Each component can be changed out. Some of those are more impactful than others. Like today, I just changed out a computer card. That was pretty easy. Turned off the computer, pulled out the old one, stuck in the new one, turned it back on. But quite different if we have to take a whole module away and launch another one. That would involve much time, much money, a whole plan to how to get that here. So with varying degrees of yes, we can keep the space station going as long as we have the desire and the funding to, I believe.
Hi, Chris. My name is Danielle DaCosta, and I attend school at the University of North Texas. I am an intern at NASA Langley Research Center, working on solar sail spacecraft development, as well as working at the gantry. My question for you is, if you could grow any plant you wanted in the International Space Station, which plant would you grow? Thank you.
Well, first of all, I have to say, University of North Texas, my daughter goes there, so go Mean Green. And second, to answer your question directly, if I could grow any plant up here, what would it be? It would have to be, I think, something that had some smell to it, because what we have up here is a relatively sterile environment in terms of smell. With what you associate nice smells on Earth, the seashore, fresh cooked grass, maybe something cooking in the oven, or a nice citrus fruit or a flower. We don't have any of those smells. So maybe like an orange tree or something along those lines. Probably an orange. That would be, you'd have to have a big module though, but if the pie in the sky is the answer, I'd say an orange.
Hi Chris, my name is Carl, and I study mechanical engineering at Purdue University. I'm currently on co-op at the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. I get to work with the ISS flight control team Cronus, including a couple projects on the S-band communication system. My question is, what is your leadership style, and what have you learned about leadership through leading high achievers such as astronauts and Navy SEALs?
Well, I don't know how to define my own leadership style. That's something that maybe you could ask others about. But what I've learned about leadership throughout my professional career is that everybody on the team appreciates and likes being included and understanding the why to how something is going on. Now, it's easy to be a leader or a follower when everything's going great. In times like coronavirus or other times when it's challenging to the workforce, challenging to the unit, challenging to the team, it's there where ideas can come from anybody within, and as long as people feel like they have a path to have their ideas submitted, whether those ideas are acted upon or not, the most important thing I believe that a leader can do is include the people in the decisions and articulate what the rationale is for why we're going a certain direction, because oftentimes you can't include everybody's opinion. You have to pick one and go. So that's the tough time about leading through diversity, leading through adversity, and in times like these. And so that's probably the biggest thing I've learned as a follower and then as a leader, is it really feels good to be included.
Hi, my name is Meredith, and I'm a student at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I'm also an intern at the Goddard Space Flight Center, where I assist a team in developing an instrument called a Netflix radiometer that will one day study Uranus or Neptune's atmosphere on a space probe mission. My question for you is, why did you decide to become an astronaut?
Well, I didn't decide to become an astronaut. NASA decided that they would allow me to be one. I decided to apply, and the reason I decided to apply was because I thought it sounded like a super cool job. I thought it sounded amazing to have the experience to go to space. I didn't know what astronauts did beyond fly a rocket into space. But as I began my interest and read about it and kind of learned a little more, the whole job interested me. I also was enthusiastic about applying because I liked my job that I was doing in the Navy and the SEAL teams, and I felt like I had either way it would work out just fine for me. If I got selected, it'd be wonderful. If I didn't, it would be wonderful too. So when I got called and was told by NASA that it was an option for me to become an astronaut, I was super excited, and there was no looking back, and I've loved my career ever since that day.
Hi, I'm Alex Aaron. I'm a PhD student at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, and this spring I'm an intern at Marshall Space Flight Center. For this internship, I'm developing systems engineering tools as well as the training on how to use them. My question is about if you wish you'd known or had any skills prior to being selected to be an astronaut that would have been helpful to either get through the training or now that you're on the job.
Well, surprisingly, the answer to that is very non-technical. I found that the training system at NASA is fantastic, and all of the technical things, whether or not you have skill in them at the beginning, you can get there in the end. So the answer I have for you is more for the other side of my brain, and that's to speak a language. It's been very challenging for me over these years to learn the little bit of Russian that I can speak now, and I wish that I had the ability to thoroughly articulate my thoughts in Russian to my crewmates. We do get along just fine with our language up here. We speak a mix of English and Russian, Runglish we call it, and it works. But sometimes I'm at a loss to really convey the nuance of the situation, or if it's a joke or something like that. So I wish I was a better linguist, and that would serve me well here in my time on the space station and in training.
Hi, my name is Precious Fatima, and I attend the University of Houston Clear Lake, where I'm studying computer science. I'm currently interning at NASA Johnson Space Center, and I support software for the exercise devices. My question for you, Chris, when you're in an isolated environment such as the ISS, what do you find to be the best workout routine for yourself?
Well, I'm maybe it's the military guy in me, but it's very easy for me to follow a leader when it comes to working out, and I like it very much when there's a prescribed program, and all I have to do is put out effort to execute that program, and that's the case here. We have professional astronaut strength and conditioning coaches, and they write the exercise program, and it's just my job to execute it, and that works very well for me. All of us have probably experienced this back at home in a normal gym, where you go to the gym and you show up there and you just kind of are at a loss for what to do. And I think on the board of the space station, we're so busy with other stuff, it would be challenging to every day think of a new workout program. So I'm very, very thankful that we have this exercise program in place, and it's a mix of weightlifting and running on a treadmill and riding a bicycle, and it rotates different programs of those each and every day.
Hi, my name is Martin Koling, and I'm studying computer science at the Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. This spring, I've been an intern at the Ames Research Center, working on analyzing data from the TESS Space Telescope. Now, my question to you is, how has your military background prepared you to become an astronaut?
Well, I think my military background, you probably get a common answer if you talk to any military astronaut, and that is, we become in an operational environment in the military. You get very used to looking around, thinking in a three-dimensional way, and talking on the radio all at the same time. And it's called situational awareness, passing your knowledge to others so the whole collective group can have the same awareness about, in the military, the battlefield or the problem you're trying to solve. And that translated very naturally to me at the beginning of my astronaut career of talking on the radio, looking around the cockpit, looking around the pool during our training for spacewalks, and processing all that information and collectively sharing that with the group. Now, in short order, that advantage, if you will, went away because we do so much training as astronaut candidates that the class becomes kind of one, and we all end up with the same skill level in that regard. And we within the astronaut office put a high value on situational awareness, and it's a tool, it's a skill that I think is probably one of the most important things you can have as an astronaut.
Hi, my name is Nama Glauber. I attend the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Israel, and I am an alumna of the International Space University. I interned with NASA Ames Research Center at California, where I work on a project named Delta, which aimed to predict natural disaster from satellite imagery using machine learning technique. My question is, if or what changed that might be affected due to the coronavirus situation and the lockdown can be seen from the International Space Station with naked eyes?
Well, the only thing that I can notice with my naked eye is I think there's a few less airplane contrails. In my last mission, I recall every day you could see, I was paying attention to the United States, but I'm sure it was over Europe and other parts of the world as well, a crisscrossing zigzag of airplane contrails as they fly people around the world. It seems a little bit less to me now, and I don't know if the airlines are definitely flying less flights. My gut is telling me yes, but I don't have actual data that says that. However, I don't really observe that as many contrails as before.
Hi, Chris. Mike and Kate here. As you know, I lead NASA's efforts in engaging students in NASA's mission. And today has been a great time. Dave and I have had such a good time watching you as you answer questions from our interns all across the country. It's no surprise to me, though, that you'd be great because, hey, for a couple of years, we watched our sons play basketball together here in Texas. And this past year, you've given him some great advice as he's entered the Navy. And now that both of our sons are in the Navy, it's an amazing time. But today really has been great to be able to see what you have to say and to learn about your life on board Space Station. And I know that our family is looking forward to continue to follow you on social media. Thanks again for joining us today. It's been awesome.
Thanks a lot, Mike. I really appreciate it. And to all you interns, thank you very much for your service to NASA. It's been a crazy time for you to join, but we really look forward to having you on board and helping us in the long haul, continue our exploration of space. Thank you very much.
Station, this is Houston ACR. That concludes our event as we count down to 20 continuous years of humans living and working on the International Space Station. Thank you.